UNPAVED, Sean Salisbury here. We're bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.
To me, Tom Brady is the GOAT because he's done more with less than any player at that position we've ever had.
Hey, welcome in, Unpaved. I'm Sean, along with Adam Sager, Adam G. Sager at Twitter. I'm at Sean Unfiltered. And grateful to Bailey, our producer, and Laura, who handles all the getting all that good stuff out there that you see and making sure that everybody sees this content. Great to be on with you guys today. Segs, good to be on with you. Who would have thought that WNBA talk would ever be a thing? Okay.
Especially over NBA free agency.
Yeah,
we got
right.
a ton of moves going on yet.
This shit, man. Yeah. I don't.
But hey, here's my question real fast. Hey, who's the person that gets us talking about the WNBA? Who's got to get her ass kicked? Who's got to put up
Caitlin Clark.
crazy
Caitlin Clark. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about it, period. You hang 40, nobody even talks about it, and even whether it's her or not. Yet, she at least brings eyes, whatever it is. Segs, that's why when there are no pubs, bad pub, any of that, at least she brings eyes to it. And there's some great players that we discover like, oh, we're actually seeing what they do. But you and I are both, it has to do something special for us to watch. It's not a lack of appreciation for the skill set. It's just a lack of what keeps me interested. I got enough going on that I don't usually, but this keeps a lot of people interested. And it seems to be Caitlin Clark always is at the center of it, whether it's what she's bringing to the table or how she's getting her ass kicked and how she responds. And, whether it's so odd too. There's a group that thinks she's coddled and there's a group, I don't know, a fist to the throat. I don't know if that's coddling. And then there's the group that think that she's being mistreated. So here we start with another WNBA moment on Unpaved.
We never are talking about the WNBA's players' skill sets. Never. It's always this type
unless
of
it's a brick house layup by Angel Reese, right?
Yeah. The me bounds and the putback misses, and another putback miss, then she travels or gets blocked. But anyways, I digress. Anyways, Alyssa Thomas is the one who, a few days back put her hand on the throat of Caitlin Clark when they were on the ground going for a loose ball and pushed up to get up off her throat, which was not called a foul in the game. The WNBA went back and looked at it, assessed her with basically a double flagrant, a 1-game suspension, and she had to sit out. Well, she went and spoke about what's been going on since the foul or the suspension and all that. Here's what Alyssa Thomas had to say.
Crazy, the playing the game, being suspended, just the whole narrative that's being painted out there. It's unfortunate that it's come to this over basketball. A lot of us, myself included, didn't even know the play took place until after, the game. And, now we're being painted as thugs and there's death threats out on us. So it's really unacceptable. It's something that needs to change in this league. And I'm just really sick and tired of it.
Okay, so she says there's death threats on us. I don't know who else would be getting death threats. Not saying she should get death threats, but she used the word us a few times, or we are getting death threats. First and foremost, obviously, death threats are stupid. If you are threatening to harm Alyssa Thomas over that play, or
shame on you.
Shame on you. You are an ignorant person that is not a WNBA fan. You're not even really a sports fan. You come down on this political side of the world we're in right now on one side, and it so happens to probably be the right, even though we both lean right. There's the far right who will do stupid shit like this, just like there's the far left who will say outlandish shit and do stupid shit constantly on a day-to-day basis.
And push socialism on the world. Yeah.
Yes, this is, we're talking about the far ends of the spectrum each way here. So if you are somebody that is sending a death threat to Alyssa Thomas or anybody involved in athletics, your quarterback throws an interception in a big spot, your player misses a free throw in a big spot, I don't care what it is. If you're sending a death threat over sports, you need to get your head checked and go find a doctor.
Well, if anybody that sends it, if you're sending a death threat in any sport, let alone this one as well, over this stuff, not only get your head checked, quit gambling if you can't handle it.
Yes.
If you can't handle it. And secondly, if you're just a dickhead that sends these death threats, first of all, we yawn at them because how many of the and now you can't. They got to take it serious. I sit back and say, who the fuck sits at home and sends a death threat because somebody got into a tussle on the court, or you love Caitlin Clark and somebody else did it? Stop with the racist problems. Stop with the death threats. Just stop it. Okay. Nobody deserves you to call them names like this. You can get after them and criticize all you want, which I'm about to do, but leave the death threats and the cross the line over the race stuff. And now, whether it's the fact that they don't like her and that they don't like the fact that some white girl's getting a lot of pub, or they just don't like the fact that they feel like she's being coddled. They meaning anybody who's got indifference to it. Not I'm talking about the players. I'm talking about fans too. Well, one is so. And by the way, Robert, thanks for saying hello. Dave Villar, 351. Great to have you on here. Is says that I can't stand it when this death threats and all this life stuff crosses into what is a sport that people get paid to play. First off, I think it's bullshit that Alyssa Thomas is getting death threats, if she is or anybody closer. That's one. Two is it's amazing how this stuff happens, and then when it's reversed on you, when people are doing stupid stuff like this, that you'll approach that and act as if you didn't know what went on the court. That's bullshit too.
Yeah.
Because it was exactly what she did on the court, and it wasn't an open palm. If I'm not mistaken, she drove her fist into her to get up. And how many people do that? Normally, when you're getting up, you don't do knuckle push-ups. You straighten out your hand to get up and push off somewhere else. Of course you knew, at least from my vantage point. It was a cheap shot, and we know it. Now, does that warrant death threats? Absolutely not, but she's full of shit, hyperbolic. You don't like it, and she's sick of it. I get it, as are a lot of people sick of the other side, that what some perceive to be coddling, you're kicking her ass every night. I've said it. I'll have more respect than I already have respect for the girls in this league who compete. I don't have respect for cheap shots in any sport or any gender, could care less. No cheap shots allowed. But the fact that, and this isn't basketball. When she said, oh, basketball is when somebody goes to the rim and you foul them good and hard to prevent a layup, not when you bring your hands down and try to punch them in the face or have them down and your fist in their throat, whether it's her or somebody else. Those aren't. That's not basketball. It's just like football. If you put your helmet in my sternum, that's good football. Mm-hmm. If you put the crown of your helmet in my chin and you saw it coming, that's not good football. So listen, I don't like soft approaches. I like good physical, hard basketball. And it'd be pussified if every time she went for a layup and got a little bit of pushing and shoving, that everybody was complaining that Caitlin Clark was being, that people are being too physical with her. It's sports. There's going to be physical. But let's make it clear and stop the lack of transparency, whether it's her or anybody out there, that you don't think that Caitlin Clark is treated different on the court by opposition. She is, for whether it's jealousy or whatever issue it is. I don't profess to know what their deepest issues are, but it's still weird that you want to cut off the nose to spite your face, considering she is a marketable asset. Yet you don't want to kiss her ass enough, let her take over a game. You want to play physical with her and win the game. Of course, that's competition. But to say that she gets treated, anybody that says she gets treated like everybody else are coddled, it's complete bullshit. They look the other way on a lot of this stuff. And it wouldn't matter if it was Caitlin Clark or Sophie Cunningham or Alyssa Thomas or anybody else. Whoever did what they did to Caitlin Clark should have been suspended or fined. So I get the frustration on both sides. What I don't get is the bullshit talk that Caitlin Clark is protected and coddled on the court. There's plenty of media that coddle her, just like there's plenty that coddle those that are applying non-basketball bullshit fouls on her as well. I personally don't give a rat's ass either way. I don't play it. I rarely watch it. I have nothing but respect for these women. I'm a dad of a daughter. These women who go out there and kick ass, and there's some great players. But the bottom line is, like anything else, you want to grow your product, you make sure your stars in hockey and the NFL. There's a reason why the Josh Allens and Patrick Mahomes and guys like that are, because they're the ones who are the Tiger Woods. They're the moneymakers. That's why we talk about Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler, and it's the same. There's good basketball players in WNBA, but unfortunately, they're not going to get the eyes they want if their stars aren't promoted. And their biggest marketable star, when you combine basketball and the love of the league, most of them say it's Caitlin Clark, and she's not the best player in the league. So for me, I'm waiting for 1 time, Sigs, for her to get up, like I said the other day, and punch somebody in the face when they cheap shot and be willing to risk a 10-game suspension. It may take that very kick the bully's ass, and then the bully backs off, and they're like, okay, now she's fighting back. Let's go. And then we can vilify Caitlin Clark. Oh, you shouldn't fight back. It cost your team all that. Fine. So, but the bullshit part of the clip here is death threats are wrong, and you should not be doing them. Melissa Thomas is 100% correct. Right. The other side is to act like you didn't even know that was a problem is a flat-out bullshit, non-transparency, hyperbolic crap. So it goes both ways. We shouldn't overprotect Caitlin Clark. She plays basketball, and we sure shouldn't prevent her from being protected like every other player in the league because she's Caitlin Clark. There's a fine line. And when it comes to the marketability, the WNBA has zero clue on how to market these stars or to prevent all this shit from going on. It's like they can't even run their own nose. How in the world do they want to run contract negotiations and the rest of it, whether it's from the commissioner on down? So to me, Caitlin Clark's not innocent in all this. She's an antagonizer. But regardless, a fist to the throat to help yourself up is not basketball. A hard foul at the rim when you're up 3 and you want the person to have to go make 3 free throws, that's good basketball. Okay, so to me, it goes both ways, but death threats are pathetic, and these women don't deserve it. And on the other side, Caitlin Clark should be able to play basketball and get marketed properly and do her thing under the rules of everybody else, and the talent should be able to shine through. But she is not the best player in the league, but she is the biggest marketable asset they have. And them not using it is a reason they will continue to be looked at as a yawner, unfortunately, because there's a lot of talent, dude. There's a lot out there that want to watch these girls play and men to watch them play. But this ain't it the way they're going about their business. And the only time you're talking about it extensively is when there's controversy, when she's getting hammered.
Yeah, and also she's getting hammered, or the WNBA is doing a shitty job of marketing her, like they have in the past, just like they did the other day with the 30-year poster where they put Sophie Cunningham on there and not her.
Yeah,
but then
I'm all for chatter too, Seg. So the trash talk, I think it's awesome. It's the best. Michael Jordan and Larry Bird were the biggest trash talkers on the planet. Yes. They kept going. Listen, you should talk trash to Caitlin Clark. Hey, some football players. Shannon Sharp was great at it to his opponent, and he was a great player. There's guys who I played against them where they constantly chatter. And there's a method to the madness trying to get you out of your game. I love that. Larry Bird telling you, oh, you can't cover me anyway, and then go and bury it at 3. Them saying, I don't really care if it's Caitlin Clark. She comes in my lane, Rick Mahorn style. She's going to realize that she ain't getting to the rim. Jordan went through that early in his career and had to fight his way through it, just like Kobe, and get stronger to know. But those guys talk trash. The trash talk's not the problem. It's when basketball becomes a cage battle and both sides don't get equal time to fight, and the other one sets a take. And part of that's on Caitlin Clark, part of it, not with the cheap shot segs, but the fact that you can't, at some point in time, when your kid's getting bullied, you got to train. I think Daniel Craig Bonds might have said this. At some point in time, you try to talk him in Friday night, don't fight back, don't fight back. It did with my own son. For a year, and my son was bigger. The guy said, just leave him alone. Don't. And it's just talk. And then finally the kid I said, but the next time it was bothering. It was like a year and a half. Yeah. And finally my son came to me and goes, Dad, this is going to continue and I'm tired of it. And you told me I shouldn't do anything. I said, well, if you get a suspension from school, you tell that principal to blame it on me. Finally, kid pushed him from behind at school. My son wheeled on. I said, next time he pushes your legs, he talks to you, let it go. Next time he does it, you wheel on him and you don't ask a question. You knock his ass out.
Yep.
He did just that, knocked his tooth out in the hallway in the beginning of school. He got suspended for 3 days. The principal called me and said, we don't do violence. I said, I've been telling your school for 1.5 years on the bus. My son's 6'7". I said, he doesn't need my protection. I'm trying to say it's like the lock on the doors for your protection, not mine at my house. Right. I said, this is for your protection, the kid's protection. And the kid was known as a bully in school. My son, one punch, knocked him out, came back to school the next day to serve his in-school suspension in the office doing work. And he got a standing ovation from his buddies when he walked in because this was going around. And guess what happened after that? That kid hung around my son and his friends forever, was never a bully again. Sometimes the bully needs the living shit knocked the fuck out of him. Okay? Yep. Not early, not creating violence. You take the chatter's fine. Everybody talks trash. But then when it gets to the point where you're affecting other people and then they have to bring it home and it's affecting them. And he did it once. And the principal called me. I said, well, I asked you guys for about 6 months to please get a handle on this. Or I said this quote, I said, or I'm going to turn my son loose. And that's probably not a good idea for you guys. And it happened, took his suspension. He called me up. I said, from school, he goes, Dad, he goes, I did it. He had this voice. This was like when he was in the 7th grade or 6th grade. I said, you don't worry about it. I'm talking to your principal. I'll be down at school. Talk to him. I said, you know what? Suspend him. I said, but if he comes out of there and there's a bully again who keeps doing this, I can assure you what's going to happen again. So if you guys can't do this, then somebody else will. He ended the bullying. We did it like that. There was never a problem again. And the kid was a nice kid. He just needed his ass kicked. Because I also told the principal, if you don't do it, I'm going to go over to his dad's house and I'm going to knock on their door and make sure his dad knows that if he keeps bullying, I'm whooping his dad's ass. And I don't believe in that kind of violence either. But a message needs to be sent that at some point in time, even if you take an ass kicking, you've got to fight back. Because I'm tired of the bullying and shit. I hate bullying. I hate these death threats. And I hate lack of transparency when you say you didn't know what's going on and playing stupid. Alyssa Thomas is smarter than that. The lack of transparency. But it's a league that can't stand the fact, even their own marketing people, that the person who brings eyes to it, more eyes, is not the best player, but is the most marketable. And they don't know how to capitalize on it. And I could teach them a few things about that if they knew, if they wanted a little help, because they're shitty at it. Yeah, they are shitty at it. We'll see if they can make any changes in the foreseeable future to help their league, continue to grow, because it does have a bit of a following now after years of just kind of being there. They actually have some sort of following, and young girls are watching it a little bit, but they are still doing a shitty job when it comes to marketing them. Let's switch over to the NFL. We talk about marketing a player who maybe doesn't deserve to be marketed anymore. The Buffalo Bills have announced that they will not have O.J. Simpson honored in the new stadium at all. And you said something yesterday, and I'll let you repeat what you said about O.J. Simpson as a college and NFL player. But what do you make of the Bills saying arguably their best player of all time will not be honored in our new stadium after what he did? We know with the white Bronco and his wife and her friend, quote unquote friend. What do you make of this whole situation with O.J. Simpson? Yeah, Segs, this is a full show in itself, but I'm going to try to, maybe we'll have a full show on just the O.J. Simpson saga and that story. I still remember that as like a 9-year-old watching that on TV. I know where I was, and I know at the initial part of it, he treated my family so well. Segs, O.J. did, and he treated me well. He was a friend of mine before all this. He was. He took me under his wing. I remember, and I don't mean this arrogant, but after we beat Oklahoma, my parents were there. We beat him shut him out in Norman my sophomore year. And OJ went up to my mom and dad, gave my mom a hug, shook my dad's hand down after the game, and he said, that guy's going to be our first Heisman Trophy winner as a quarterback. Rodney almost won it after me, and Carson, but a bunch did after that. I might shredded it didn't turn out, but my parents remember, and I remember it this day. And then when I was a rookie in Seattle, Reggie McKenzie, who was a coach on our staff, he came, who was an offensive lineman during his 2,000-yard season with Joe DeLamalure and the Electric Company, where OJ played, when they called it that, in Buffalo. We'd go out, and OJ, the one thing about OJ, his head came in the room about 4 minutes before the rest of his body did, dude. I mean, I'm talking about, it's like a 10 3/8, right? I digress, but he was that guy you saw in the Hertz commercials. I don't need to read, but he was the most beloved athlete in the world. He was. I'm talking about international commercials, sideline report, all of it. Everybody knows that. But so this is hard for me because I remember when it first came out, I said, there's no way OJ could have done this yet. Marcus is a good friend of mine, and that whole saga that they had talked about, and then Al Cowlings, who's a great Trojan, and, just the whole thing. And you went from no way could have OJ done this to, oh my gosh, this is horrible, right? All those things. Heck, we used to give Cato Kalin a hard time. He'd come to my golf tournaments, Eggs. And, think about the jokes we put on him after it was all done. Like, oh, you're not carrying a knife, are you? I mean, dude, and he was a good sport about it. But it was, and Segs, for me, I had to go to the Playboy Mansion afterwards. And I was the host of money to be raised for the family, the Nicole Brown Simpson family, as the MC of their banquet. And here I was as a Trojan. So you talk about pulling at emotions, right? Yeah. I understood both. So, I know there's the if he did it and the glove doesn't, all that stuff, and then the crime after where he actually went to jail for, right, Sigs, all those things.
Yeah.
It was so weird how he went from being the most popular former athlete on the planet to being the most hated one and despised one, right? So that the emotion, not of what he did, but of, man, could OJ do this? And then, man, he was so good to me. But then having to compartmentalize, saying, this is horrible. 2 lives were lost. Oh, but he's not guilty. Well, is he? And then all the stuff. I don't want to get into all that, Sakes, because it'd take too much time. Like I said, that's a 2-hour show in itself. SC had and I don't even know, do we have his Heisman back in there? We may very well, Sakes, at SC. But I always say this, is it just for performance on the field or performance is P? Like we do with the Hall of Fame, right? When you're putting somebody in the Ring of Honor, or you put somebody, is it, are we just judging him by performance on the field? Because if you're just judging O.J. Simpson by performance on the field, he's not, is he the best? He is the best Buffalo Bill. And no disrespect to Thurman Thomas or Jim Kelly. Bruce Smith would be the next in the conversation, in my opinion. Jim's in there. Joe DeLamalure back in the day. They've had some phenomenal players. But O.J., if he ain't 1, he ain't 3, right? So there's that part. But he went to jail afterwards. There's still the speculation that he did kill his ex-wife and his wife and Ronald Goldman, that he did. And it's been well documented. I get it. While there's people that are disgusted by him, and I get that too. I never had a conversation with him from that, Segs, after all that happened. Yeah, never. The only conversations I had were. So I know the damage which was done, and I get why Buffalo's doing it. So this is hard. I'm like, man, should he still be in there? Because what he did on the field still belongs there. But if you don't, the guidelines of human being, how you treat people, you went to jail. It's like a contract, Segs. If you do something conduct detrimental, Terry and Arnold, we're just cutting you.
Yeah.
And now you may spend it. So if he had a great career and was found guilty, let's say he was in the Pro Bowl 9 times before this situation happened, and he's the greatest corner in Lions history. Yeah. Let's just say for the hell of it, Segs. And then he goes to jail for life in prison or 60 years. Does he belong in their Ring of Honor? The answer is no. Right. The answer is no, because while you may be a good football player, what kind of human? How'd you treat human life? Did you leave things better than you found? Whatever the protocol.
It's still an honor.
That's exactly right. And it's a privilege, not a right, to do it. So with all that being said, as much as I think, and I'll tell you what I said yesterday, as you said, Segs, to tee this off, I'll end with that, is that as a football player, O.J. Simpson belongs in the Hall of Fame, belongs in USC's Hall of Fame. The Heisman Trophy belongs in there, and he belongs on Buffalo's Wall of Fame, or, in the rafters, whatever it is, a Ring of Honor. Yeah. Right, as a football player. But when you take away what he did off and post and all that, I get why. Now, if somebody kept him, if Buffalo would say we're moving on with it because what I just said, okay. But I don't think you're going to get a ton of complaints from outside anybody that's closely related to O.J. Simpson, his family, or what have you, maybe even not his family. I don't think you're going to get many that are going to argue with the Buffalo Bills' decision to keep him out of there, to honor him there, because it is a privilege, and O.J. Simpson lost that privilege, according to them, by this. Now, I'm using my words. By what he did off the field. On the field, it's a no-brainer, because I can make the argument between college and NFL player on the field, their careers in both, that there's not 3 players in the history of this game that have been better in college and in the NFL than O.J. Simpson was. I mean, Marino had a good college career. Elway had a great college career, but they didn't win an. I mean, he was on a dominant teams, was the best player in college. He was on dominant teams, first guy in the NFL to rush for over 2,000 yards. Great career in both. And then, and then it went south after, we was on the sidelines and we saw it, an actor and all that, beloved to just hated. So it is an honor. And while I'm thinking, Segs, who we mentioned Barry Sanders as far as both. There's been great college players and there's been great football players. Elway was at Stanford. They didn't win a lot of, championships, but he was a great player, but not like OJ won the Heisman and all. I mean, you just combine both, Segs, you're going to have a hard time finding somebody who did both as good as him. Now, there's Hall of Famers in college and there's a long list of great players. Yeah. But he's in the conversation as the best college and NFL football player combined. But off the field, he made choices that don't belong in a place that honors more than just the play on the field. So as much as a friend and a past and how he treated me before all the stuff he went through and treated my family, which I still hold sacred over here, Segs, but compartmentalizing over here. Would you want him in honoring? Would you hang a poster of him in front of your kids and have to explain the story? No. Maybe not. So as a player, as good as we've ever had in both sports, in both college and NFL. As a human being, O.J. Simpson made a lot of decisions that would disqualify him, in my mind, from being in somebody's ring of honor or sitting in a plaque in somebody's building saying that's it. You can also recognize it in your training facility, and here's what happened, like you would in the Hall of Fame if you would have put Pete Rose in with the gambling, two different things. To me, I support Buffalo's decision to do it. And yesterday I was kind of waiting like, man, should they? But he's faced this at SC. He faced it with the Hall of Fame. He's faced it with the Buffalo Bills. And now he's not around anymore. And the truth is he screwed up that opportunity to be honored everywhere because we cherish his football. But off the field, he left something to be desired and was a criminal. Simple. Yeah. It's that simple. And so he doesn't belong in Buffalo's Ring of Honor.
Completely agree with everything you just said. Real quick, KY Maritime guy here with the I kind of lurk, so comment is rare, but he played Division I, AA, then transferred to Division I. We even hit our own teammates in the mouth sometimes back then, as you all know. So basically saying like sometimes someone's bullying you or just kind of going overboard with you. You got to stand up, and sometimes you got to hit them in the mouth, and that sends the message that you're looking for. So it's a topic that won't go away. And if you guys want to donate / get a super chat comment in here, go ahead and you can do that as well here on YouTube.
Segs, real quick with that. I know we got to move on, but like I said, to me, there's a difference between encouraging being a bully and being a violent, and encouraging you to stick up for somebody who can't stick up for themselves and end the vicious cycle of bullying. And I'm one of those guys, Segs, and it's like a pitcher. Segs, you're on my team and you're leading our team. You're my catcher. Mm-hmm. And you're leading the team, in which, Segs, I imagine you did play catcher in baseball. That's my guy, right? There we talked. Did you play a little bit of catcher?
Yeah, I was catcher, shortstop.
Catcher, shortstop. Okay, but right. I mean, I guess I'm looking at you now because you're young.
Yeah,
you have some young. You're built like I know you're built like a catcher. I don't know what you were in the 7th grade, right? So regardless, you're my middle infielder. I don't care. And you're leading our team in home runs, and a guy intentionally hits you because they get two guys in front of him homered, and you get plucked, or you homered the time before. I think it's a pussy move. I just do. I understand 7th game of the World Series. You're throwing a 7-inning shutout. You don't want your pitcher to get ejected.
Right.
Now more than ever, you pitchers should be protecting their players. Why? You don't go more than 5 in a 2/3 inning. So get your ass ejected in the 5th inning anyway and go protect your player. I have a much bigger problem. If you hit my guy now this is old school baseball. It's an eye for an eye. Old school, Warren Spahn hits Bob Gibson. Bob Gibson's coming back and hitting him, and he knows he's going to get hit, goes to first base, we continue on. It's like a hockey goons. They used to beat the shit out of each other, and they still do. Hockey still lives by these rules. Yes. Beat each other up, have a beer with each other, and we may be fighting again in 6 nights, dude. That's just the way it is. In baseball, I understand situational baseball, but if you hit my guy, my best player, my guy in the rib cage, for no reason other than, and the first 2 pitches missed, and it's a fastball at 98 in the ribcage. As a pitcher in the dugout, you should not have to come up and tell me as my manager, you know what you have to do, right? You're getting hit. And if that means an ejection, a 4-game suspension, but you gain more respect by that than you do oh, well, I stayed away from the guy because I didn't want to get ejected. Screw your ejection. I got 8 guys in the bullpen that'll come in and finish this. And if we don't, oh, well. Yeah. So sometimes that bully, Caitlin Clark, needs to respond and not in kind at times. And like I said, sometimes you respond and you get your ass kicked anyway. Oh, well, I'll gain more respect for you if at some point in time you get tired of it. And every now and again, it's not violent. Eventually, you'll end the circle of violence if you knock a bully right in his fucking face, dude.
Yes.
I don't care what it is, or hers in this case. You get to a point where you've had enough of it, Segs. And so I always lean towards, and if I'm on that team, then you're going to have to eject me. Then I'll take my ejection to protect you. But at some point in time, Dave Semenko's not around to protect Gretzky. You got to throw, Gretzky might not, but these big fellas got to throw hands. And at some point, Caitlin Clark's going to have to, without talking it, she's just going to have to rear up and knock somebody out and risk the suspension and what it does to her team. So that's called life, man. And we've all seen it. And unfortunately, nowadays, they don't go back out to the ball, back beyond the schoolyard and fight and get in trouble by the principal and then become best friends because they got dirt on their face and blood after beating each other up. What happens is the next day somebody comes back from school and shoots you. That's the problem nowadays, and that's the society we've created, which a bunch of whack jobs. But and it goes along with we don't let our kids face enough adversity. Every now and then, as a referee, maybe you got to turn your cheek a little bit and let the other guy, like in hockey, fight your ass off, fall to the ground, and we'll lay on top of you. Okay, that's it. Get it done. Oh, she broke a tooth. Oh well,
happens.
Oh well, she lost $15,000. Yeah, but gained 15 miles of respect in the process. It's going to happen. And I got news for you. If I'm her coach, I'm turning the other cheek on it too. You go ahead and let it rip. We'll survive without you for a game or 3. I'm with you.
100%. Moving on to the NBA, LeBron James says basically he's willing to play for the vet minimum, has told his agent to go out and speak with all teams, and basically they can, I don't want to say make their pitch because that sounds bad, but just gauge what's out there where, he can go make an impact trying to win a title. We've got Tim Walz out there openly wanting him to come to Minnesota to play with the T-Wolves and Anthony Edwards.
Walz will just steal his money if he comes there anyway.
Right,
oh, sorry, my bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's not get into that.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
that's a whole nother show we'll get into. But it still comes back to the Warriors. It comes back to this. But what do you make of LeBron James willing to play for the vet minimum and go basically anywhere? We still think it's just a few teams, but with this playing for the vet minimum, he could essentially go anywhere. What do you make of LeBron saying this?
I want this to happen, and I want it to happen just like he said it. First of all, good on him. Remember I said yesterday, Siggs, if you're going to keep playing, then position yourself, to go to the best place you can win a championship. What else are you playing? You've every number, all the shit, the statistics. You got to want to go to a place. You're not going to go to the last place team to finish out 2 more years of playing. So, and then the way to do this is put your money where your mouth is, which he's talking it. Now I want him and Rich Paul. Let's just say Oklahoma City wanted him, Segs, for the minimum. And that's the best chance to win an NBA championship. Don't go in there and ask for more than the minimum. Live this down. You've put it out there for the optics. It's great. And if you really want to, if this is what you're committed to, winning a fucking championship again, and the 3 best teams in the NBA, whoever you consider them, the Knicks, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and hell, sakes, whoever, let's go the Spurs and Wemby, right? All 3 of them say, dude, here's this. Here's the reasons why, and that's where he's going. If I'll buy into it when I see that he's on the best available team that wanted him and that he wanted to play for at the minimum salary. The money shouldn't be at this stage of the game, dude. The big deal. I know everybody wants to get paid. He's made damn near probably as much money off it as he's made on it, which is about $600 million a day. So there's no doubt more. I think he's under the billionaire status now. So
I believe so.
If you really want to play for a championship, go to the best team and keep this minimum deal on the table and when at the end, when we say he's playing for minimum, signed a 2-year deal, and he's got a bunch of incentives, and this team, and we look up in Vegas odds, Segs, and we're looking at FanDuel or whatever, and it says best odds to win a championship. I mean, not the best odds, but the best chance to win a championship is Oklahoma City or San Antonio. go play there if they want you. So I think it's great for him if he follows through with this and literally goes and plays at the team that's got the best chance for minimum salary. Then I'm going to say LeBron's back for the right reasons, not for anything other than go play and win a championship.
Just chasing rings at this point?
Of course it is. Of course it is. Why else would he put it this way? Would you rather him go and get, I'm not saying you, but $35 million a year or whatever it is, 50, I don't care, whatever it is, sign a $50 million deal or whatever fits under the structure of the team he's going to a mid-level team? Wouldn't you be more pissed at that? I'd be like, dude, what are you still sticking around for? This team's not winning an NBA title next year if it was a team that hadn't made the playoffs in 5 years, right?
Yeah.
But listen, at this stage of the career, what are you chasing? What was Brady chasing at the end of his career? He was chasing another title.
Yeah.
He's in his 40s. He's playing well. He stayed in the league. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think a lot of us were more pissed off that he was chasing it earlier in his career than later. At this stage, you should be playing for one reason, dude, or two maybe. You're not ready to retire because you still love it. Secondly, and you're passionate about it. Secondly, you're in it to win the whole thing. So I'm really not bothered by him chasing a title. He's been doing that his whole career. So why would I be mad at it now? At least if he chases it for minimum salary and he's not going to break the bank and the team he goes to has to cut 4 guys because LeBron's too expensive. Now I know he's transparent. I'm chasing a title. And I'd love him to say, I'm chasing a title, man. Yeah. I'm chasing 1 or 2 more, and I'm going to the best. I'm going to play with Jalen, with Brunson at the Knicks for minimum salary. I'm the 3rd best player on the team, and I'm going to go play and give him 22 minutes a night. Listen, I got a lot of respect for LeBron anyway, but that would even take it to another level, saying he's admitted that he wants to go play for a title. So yes, Seggs, it is chasing titles. I'd rather have him chase rings at this stage for minimum salary than chase mid-level. He's out of the playoffs, but he's getting $30 million a year just because he wants to hang on for more money.
Oh, it will just add a whole nother conversation onto the GOAT discussion if he goes and wins another ring, but yet he's like the 4th player on that team.
He's never going to be the guy that a team won an NBA championship. He's now a piece to a puzzle. He's that guy you went out and got and say, man, he's our 3rd best player now. Man, these are going to be valuable minutes. That's who LeBron is now. So if he lives up to all this and goes and chases a ring on a great team for minimum salary, then I'll know. I already know we all know he wants another ring. Who wouldn't? But I don't have a problem with a guy at this stage of his career, 23 years or so into the league, chasing a ring. What else would he be chasing? More baskets to put it out of reach for the next guy who's trying to – listen, you know how hard it is going to be? Just like to win 300 games now where you got to go 20 season at 50. To catch him, to be able to play 23 years, let alone play it like him, it can be a long time before that. Even with these new NBA rules where all we do is pump threes, it's going to be a long time before we see that record broken, just like when Abdul-Jabbar had it, right, Seg? Yeah. So tribute to him. But if he goes and plays for minimum salary and it goes to a team that he knows can get a ring, I don't have a problem with it. Chase the ring all you want 23 years into the league. I'm into it.
Switching over to the NFL, Brendan Sorsby, basically NFL teams sent a memo out to all their teams saying that Brendan Sorsby will not follow through with litigation to try and get into the supplemental draft or anything like that. He will take his year. He will get ready for the NFL draft in 2027. And, I tweeted, I think it was yesterday, this is what we talked about. This is what he should do. Just stop all the litigation, stop all the court stuff, stop all the, suing everybody, and just get ready for the draft in 2027. Get yourself fully healthy, get your mechanics down to a T, start reading NFL defenses, watching film on everybody, keeping notes. So when you walk into your, at the combine, let's say he gets invited to the combine and he walks in and meets with teams, he could say, here's my book of everything I have written down about each team, including the team I'm talking to right now, what I see on defense. He does that, I think, and he shows that he's still being rehabilitated from the gambling. I think it's a good thing.
Segs, this is simple. We did point blank said it more than a week ago when you did put that on Twitter yesterday, and I quote tweeted saying bingo because it's fact. Yep. That this is the best. Not going and playing in another league because that shows a little lack of remorse. Like I confess it's somebody else's fault. I want to go play, or the NFL not allowing him in. It's like, okay, instead of litigation and litigate your way through trying to twist people's arm, This is the exact thing to do. Stop the bullshit. You caused this. Whether people think it's too big or too small, you caused it. And the NFL's serious about it. The CFL's serious about it. And just because you live right the next 9 years and don't bet still doesn't assure you that you're eligible for next year's draft. You got a lot of work to do. You know what he's got a chance to do, Segs? He's got a chance to get a master's and a doctorate in life and in football these next 9 months. The doctorate in life, the master's and doctorate in life is to learn from monumental mistake you made that cost you your college career at the end, the biggest season of your life in college, which you could have hoisted a Heisman Trophy possibly in a top 10 pick. He still may be a top 10 pick. He's not going to get that. So what do? You sit around and litigate? No, you say, made a mistake. It's time for me to go to work. You prove to the NFL that during your downtime when your mind is idle, that you still didn't bet. You've proved to them it's been over months. Then you you try to get reinstated by the proper letter and the proper remorse shown so the NFL doesn't think you're just some guy trying to use them to go get paid. And lastly, you get in that master. So you're getting that life of I've made a mistake, accountability, masters, and doctorate. But you're also getting it, Segs, I'm a big believer, in the lonely work, throwing out there on the field 3 days a week in heat, going in and studying tape 2-3 hours a day, NFL tape you have complete access to. Go everything, studying things that other guys. Go watch the mechanics of Brady. Go watch the footwork of Mahomes. Go watch Josh Allen's ability to make off-schedule plays. Go watch Joe Burrow's pocket presence. Go watch Lamar Jackson's ability to take over a game. All the things, even the weaknesses you don't have. Watch a guy. Maybe I'm not good at this. How do I get better at this? He's got a chance to get a master's and a doctorate without being in class.
Yeah.
And then he's got a chance to prove to the world that this wasn't just a 30-day optic, I'm healed, and then come back. And the truth is, Segs, he'll be a better football player for it. He does not need to go play 11-on-11 football this year to still thrive at the next level. He needs to get it right and stay focused on the small details of life and of quarterback play, and then prove it to them during his private workouts and by next year. This is the only answer that Sorsby should have had.
Yeah.
A little bit late, but this is the way this should be done. Litigation would tell the NFL, oh, this guy doesn't feel he did wrong.
Yeah.
Get your ass moving. You made the bed, now sleep in it, but go fix it. And if he fixes it right, there's still a great future for him on Sundays.
Yeah, I believe that as well. All right, before we get out of here, we're going to Isaiah's question from yesterday was Sean's game week routine. We'll finish the show on that. But before we do, get over to YouTube at Unpaved Sean Salisbury, like and subscribe. You'll be able to add a membership to your platform here for our show starting hopefully next week. We'll give you all the details once all those are finalized. Thanks to Bailey and Laura, our behind the scenes people. And again, to all our commenters, listeners, and viewers, we really appreciate it. All right, Sean, what was your game time routine or game week routine if it were in college or NFL or CFL? What did it look like?
Yeah, college a little different because they could only have you in the office. You could only meet
Right.
so often, Segs, and the timing of college. And I know the rules have changed over the years, how much time, and you were in class, right? All those things. Well, when it's your full-time job, for me, it was. Let's just say we ended a game on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
You'd take your plane ride home or go out and grab dinner afterwards, and you'd go. I'll try to make this as quick as possible because there's so many details to it. But Monday, you'd wake up. We'd go into the office. We'd just kind of jog through, Segs. We'd get the lactic acid out. You go and run 10, jog 10, 100, stretch, walk through a little bit. Then we go in and watch the tape as a team. Or you go in and get the meat as a team. If it was a shitty game, they keep everybody in there. If it was a great game, you may keep everybody, like you won the division, so everybody celebrates together.
Yeah.
But you go in there, coach would walk through the details, our head coach, Denny, and then we'd break up into individual meetings. The tape was already cut up. If it was a 5-hour flight, nowadays you can be studying your game tape on the flight home.
On the flight.
You can already be studying home. So that's the difference. But then you'd go and you'd break off and we'd have the cut up. We'd watch the game, watch the cut ups, 3rd and 6 plus, watch it all and grade it and critique it. Then you'd go home. A lot of guys would lift after to stretch out. Tuesday's your day off. A lot of us would go in and if you needed treatment or go in the next day on your off day just to get a workout in or what have you. But you'd already start thinking about next week's game plan. And sometimes you'd call the coach, the coordinator, or the coach saying certain things you like. And then you'd start studying. You'd try to get your mind away and your body away a little bit. Sometimes you'd have to make an appearance or give a speech on Tuesday. Just don't lose sight of your day job. Wednesday, come in. You'd get in at like 6 in the morning, 5:30, depending on when your lift was. As a veteran, it was a little later, but you'd already be in anyway because you're getting your workout in. You're starting to look at new game tape. You'd go in and start watching tape by yourself. 8 o'clock meeting for everybody. Man, we go into a meeting. And then you'd break up into individual. We'd have a meeting, start putting a game plan in because it's Wednesday now and it's a full padded practice. You put the game plan in from like 9 to 11, go back out to walk through, then come in from walk through, like start to walk through some of the things we're putting in, talking defenses and coverages, and then go out, come back in, have lunch, and then go back to the meeting room. And from about 1 to 2:45, close to 3, get dressed, and we were on the field by 3:30. Practice for 2 hours, stay out after and work on details or whatever you were doing. Come back in. You could go in and watch that practice film that day and stick around. Take tape home with you because it was different back then, Segs, right? A little different.
Yep.
Instead, they could just put it in a computer until the end of my career. And then you'd go study at night. That was Wednesday. Same routine Thursday. Friday, the practice routine was different. Your preparation wasn't. And the lonely work was the stuff that gets you over the hump where your coach isn't sitting there going through it. You're doing it. Unfortunately, a lot of guys think that football ends when you leave the building at 5:30 or 6 o'clock, and it doesn't. It does for some, but you'll know that you think for Peyton Manning it ever ended. For Mahomes, you think it ends at 6. They're going spending time with family, studying tape, while others are watching something. You're studying until 10 or 11. Sometimes you feel great about it because you played this team before, or you just played them the week before. Segs, you know how sometimes they'll do that?
Yeah.
And then Saturday, you wake up, go through your walkthrough, and then go home, get your stuff. And if it's a home game, you stay at a hotel. So you're there checking in for dinner. And then at 9 o'clock, you have a team meeting and 11 o'clock curfew. And we wake up and you're back at it Sunday morning. So the majority of the practice week was, from my position, was spent studying in the building and out of the building. And then you had your 2 hours of practice. The rest of the time was lonely work, studying and paying attention. Stuff that does and doesn't work, game plans, arguing over what you did or didn't like, debating over what belongs in, how we attack this coverage. And we're watching game after game, watching game from who they played, similar defense to us, and you'd go. The access is even better now because I would have film study. I would have already known the next team we were playing on tape on a 5-hour flight home nowadays because you would have already seen it. So that's what it does. But the job's not an 8-hour job. If it is, you're probably an average player. That's all I'll say. Or you can be unique, and we'll get into these stories more. A guy like Jim McMahon. Jim wasn't a big home study guy. I don't mean this mean. Jim just did. Yeah, I asked him one time. I said, "Hey, Mac, you're going to take some tape. What tape are you taking home this?" He goes, "Kid, I don't take tape home. I watch enough of it here." His response was priceless. He said, "I don't want the tape because it rarely looks like you see on tape."
Yeah.
He goes, "I don't want to get locked into thinking, every time I throw a curl route, it's going to be open." Mac was a reactionary guy on the field. He said he did. He says, "Kid, I don't take a lot of tape home." I'm sure at times he did. Mac was also probably one of those guys, sneak attacks tape, but he didn't. He studied it during the week and then locked into just being a football player and a reactionary football player. Once he had the things he did, the base that he saw, he did not want to get locked in. Well, they were supposed to blitz on 3rd and 5 at midfield on a quick change turnover. He didn't want to get into that. Now, Warren Moon, methodical in his preparation. Mac just did it different, but he's one of the few that could have success without, Mac was probably having a beer when we were studying tape yet. On Sunday, he'd make 5 plays with his feet, complete 9 first downs, and we'd win because he was a tough son of a bitch and was a hell of a player. So guys do it different. I always felt like I'd rather be over-prepared without being locked into that this is the way it's going to look, because it's usually not, but enough to where I wasn't surprised. And every game you're going to be surprised by something. But I didn't ever want to lose a game coming out of it saying I wasn't mentally or emotionally prepared. Physically, they're going to beat you. You're going to make mistakes. Yeah. But I didn't want it to be because of the mental decisions. So that's the basic work week. But it's not an 8-hour job. It's about an 18-hour-a-day job, to be honest with you, if you're doing it right.
Right. 100%. All right. Yeah, if you got any questions like that for Sean, just send them in on Twitter. You can hit me up at Adam G. Sager, Sean at Sean Unfiltered. We will try and answer them throughout a show in the next few days or next week, or whenever you ask the question. We'll do our best to get to them. We'll be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
UNPAVED, Sean Salisbury here. We're bringing authentic, real stuff to you.
hardcore opinion.
John Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.